Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard my first stream, which is Heathrow to Glasgow. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard, and this is a test stream really, just to see how it all works. I think it's all working okay, but I just want to burn the computer in and just see how things work and just see if we can get it working right, and the sound and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to do a short flight, which is about half an hour, 45 minutes I suppose max, with all the faffing around, which is going to take us up to Glasgow, and we're doing that in the A320 today, and this is the fly-by-wire version by fly-by-wire. And it's a fantastic aircraft, so we'll be back with you in a minute and we'll talk about the route that we're going to take. Okay, so we're pretty much underway now, so let's just have a little look at the route we're going to be taking. We've obviously been taken off from Heathrow, and what we're going to do is just have a little look now at this is basically a Skydemon screen, and obviously we're also looking in the cockpit as well at the same time, and some of the essential instruments that we need to just keep an eye on there as well. So but essentially looking at the Skydemon screen then, so taking off from Heathrow, and we've routed kind of northeast overhead Watford, and the autopilot is taking us west of Luton, and then what we'll do is carry on kind of like northwesterly, and we'll go up past Cranfield, overhead Northampton, and that'll be quite nice just as everything's coming alive in Northampton this time of the morning as this flight is. And then we'll head up to basically past Derby, which will be on our left side, and then we'll head more northerly and head up over the Lake District, which will be an absolute stunning sight with all the lakes that we'll see. And we see about 4 or 5 as we kind of progress our way up to Glasgow this morning, so it should be quite a nice view, and particularly as the sun's rising over the wing there as well, that should be particularly good. I mean, we can see it there, you know, as it's a beautiful sight in the morning as the sun catches the wing and everything there. Absolutely stunning. So we'll be back in the cockpit shortly just to check everything's working okay. And yeah, so that's the route. So we'll then head up over, let's just zoom out a little bit there so you can see that, up and where are we? Yeah, up over the Lake District, and then there you go, past almost overhead Keswick, or Keswick, depending where you come from, and then we'll head into Scotland and hopefully bring it in to Glasgow. So we'll do an ILS approach, nothing too technical this morning, because it's not really my forte. I'm just learning how to do all that kind of stuff. So hopefully we can at least get it on the runway, and that will be considered a success. So let's have a little look just at the route in the cockpit, and we can see basically if we pull up the screen there, it's pretty straightforward. A few points to follow along the way, and then we kind of do a kind of turn left, and then change heading for a 05 at Glasgow. So we'll see how that pans out. So I'm just going to check a few things to make sure the stream's still working, and I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, so back with you for a couple of minutes. I was just enjoying the views of that stunning aircraft, and the view was just amazing, and is just amazing. So, you know, when you look at what Microsoft have done with this simulator, it's absolutely outstanding. What a beautiful aircraft as well. So anyway, we're fast coming up on the Trent VOR, and we'll then head 324, I think it is, 324 degrees, and continue up to Pole Hill as our VOR from there. And then we'll head up across the Lake District, which will be absolutely stunning this time of the morning that we're flying, and we'll see some more wonders of what is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and absolutely looking forward to it. And as we get a bit closer, and once we're a bit sure that the streaming kit is working, all that kind of stuff, I'll give you a little bit of an update about what I'm hoping to do with the channel and that kind of thing. But in the meantime, let's just enjoy some more of the views as I kind of burn in and test the Microsoft Flight Simulator and the streaming software that I've got. So yeah, stay with me and I'll be back with you shortly. Right folks, so now coming up on our turn at Pole Hill, which is going to take us across the Forest of Bowland and then straight into the Lake District. And once we get into the Lake District, I'll join you again and just talk you through what I'm hoping to do with the channel and that kind of thing, hoping that somebody does actually finally get to view this. I mean, obviously don't have any subscribers at the moment, but you have to start somewhere. And yeah, I'm completely blown away with this flight simulator, just how it looks and how the aircraft flies and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I'll be back with you in about 5 minutes or so and talk you through some of the things that are coming up in the channel. Some of them are quite exciting, got some giveaways coming up and some unique things on the channel and that I've not seen elsewhere, which hopefully will make it interesting for you to join and follow along with. And yeah, so we'll cover that in about 5 minutes or so. Right, so it looks like we had a little bit of a connection loss there, but it seems that it's still working, so let's stay with it and just have a little bit of a chat about what we're looking to do with the channel as we kind of progress it and hopefully grow the channel. I think first of all we need to learn how to fly these big jets. It's a bit of a mystery really, to be honest, and I've managed to work out a checklist that takes me from a cold start to getting the aircraft in the air and undertaking the flight. I just haven't worked out the checklist for top of descent and landing yet to do it all as, you know, as properly as it can be done. But what I have done is built this checklist. I call them ultimate checklists, and in there is the whole kind of start to finish process from the initial kind of introduction there through to flight planning, and that takes us through what's in there, how, you know, really deciding where you're going to go and that kind of thing, and doing the basic kind of note taking and that sort of stuff. And then it takes us through how to get from sim brief into the aircraft. So I'm flying the fly-by-wire, the A320, and there's a means of getting the actual flight plan into the MCDU. Then we go from the whole cockpit process of what to click, what to start, and all those sorts of things in a specific order as what should be done. And it's not 100% right yet. It's something that I've been working on over a couple of weeks, and it needs a bit more work for sure. And yeah, sorry, a little bit distracted there. I got distracted by the by the view of Lake Windermere coming up ahead. Absolutely stunning, isn't it? So yeah, so there's this checklist that will be available eventually online, and the idea is you just kind of work your way through each piece. And then there's another bit about basically setting up the MCDU step by step all the way through, which takes you through all the buttons you've got to press, all the things you've got to enter, and that's all on the website as well. And then sorry, this next section is, I've jumped a section there. The next section is weight and balance. So this is all about setting up the aircraft for the actual route that you've put in sim brief and then imported into the MCDU, and everything you need to know that's in there. I mean, I think it changes quite quickly because Fly-by-Wire are such a great team that they're improving the aircraft all the time. So you know, there's new things and new ways of doing things, but it's a kind of checklist that it gets you from cold start and in the air in a reasonably correct manner, I think. So that will be coming up shortly. And what else is there? Take you through the whole engine start process, what you need to click, what you need to look for, all those sorts of things. Anyway, I don't want to bore you too much with that, but that's coming up as well. And what else is there? Bear with me just a moment. Let's get back into the view here of having it's just stunning, isn't it? Let's just get the underbelly view of the aircraft for Lake Windermere as we go overhead. So we've got a couple of stutters at the moment because I guess I've got the quality up quite high and obviously streaming it as well. So it's going to take a bit of a hit, but that's what this flight is all about. It's really about trying to figure out, you know, have I got something that's going to work and I can rely on to do some streaming with. And hopefully I have. And yeah, so I'll be back with you shortly. Right, so the other thing that I was going to talk about was actually how to get in the air in a kind of procedural manner and how to make a note of stuff that you need to have to hand and all that kind of thing. So the other thing that I've got, as well as ultimate checklist coming up, is ultimate knee boards. And what that is when you fly, you have something on your knee that you keep all the notes on in, and everybody does their own version of it. But I've done a A320 version that you can keep either on the table next to you, or you can attach it to your leg or your knee, that as pilots do, and just keep a note of the essential information that you need. And that's going to be a giveaway item. So if you do sign up for the channel, there'll be an opportunity to actually win one of those, or actually get one. You can buy it through a Patreon thing that I've set up, but I'm not really sure how that works, to be honest. I'm just trying to figure that out. And then there's a way that you can download it if you wanted to buy one of them quite reasonably. I think it's about £3, I think, what the price was. So so there's the checklist series and the ultimate knee board series, which is coming up, and I've spent quite a bit of time on those, and they're actually quite a solid piece of work. So they do actually make planning the flight and the ongoing flight a little bit easier by using these couple of bits and pieces. So yeah. And in terms of the channel, what I'm hoping to do is that the main thing is that with the release of the UK World Update 3 coming up tomorrow, so it's the 15th today of February, and the World Update is supposed to be released tomorrow. And the idea is to do some flights, so tomorrow, just to go around some of the new points of interest in the UK. So that's quite an exciting day to be able to go and do that. So if you do watch this before then, it might be worth subscribing if you want to come along for those flights. So the idea is that I'm going to do some flights probably during the week that are more kind of commercially related flights, proper flights, that kind of thing. And then at the weekend have a bit more fun, and after all, it is a simulator, and just do some fun flights. So there'll be a mixture of commercial airlines and also GA aircraft as well. So hopefully a bit for everybody. And well, let's just check in to see where we are. So still over the Lake District, and we'll need to be getting the cockpit shortly and start to get our head round coming into Glasgow, which is not that far away really. Right, so this is what we're coming up to now, and what we're going overhead here is Derwent Water, and that's obviously one of the lakes in the Lake District. And then just ahead of us, I think, is Bathensthwaite Lake, I think that's called. But this is somewhere that I'm going to get into a smaller aircraft and come down and have a look. Let me just pop this up on the main screen because it needs it really, because it's such a stunning view. And yeah, so I'm going to get a smaller aircraft and come and fly this and go down the lakeside and that kind of thing. So lots of ideas for flights coming up, so hopefully there'll be something for everybody in that. And yeah, I'm going to leave you with the views and get ready for probably my first ILS approach into Glasgow. And as I say, ILS stuff I've not really done much of, so it's all a bit of a learning curve, so bear with me. The main aim for today is to get it on the runway really. And I've had mixed success at that, so it's probably going to be enjoyable either way. So right, I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, let's just have a little look just to see where we are in terms of coming into Glasgow. And we are this is the decel point, I believe. Let's just bring the let's bring this down a bit. The range, probably 80 will do us for that. We'll get everything in. So basically, what we're going to do is go approach, turn left, go past the F, overfly the airport, and then do a right angle turn to the right, and then come back in on 05. So I think that's what the format is, and we now need to just, I think, jump into the MCDU and just check that we've got everything in there that we need. So let's have a look at the flight plan. And so it looks like we're arriving at EGPF, which is Glasgow. And let's have a look at that. Arrival. So we're going to be ILS 05, so I think we select that and we insert that into the database. And so we should have our arrival. Yeah, so I mean, obviously we're at 8,000 feet. There's no way an airliner would have flown all this way at 8,000 feet. But the reason I did that today was because the lower you are in the simulator, the harder the graphics has to work on the details. So I just wanted to just sweat the system and just to see if it did actually work. So far we lost the connection once and it just seems okay so far. So what we'll do, we'll look at dropping down to about 5,000 nice and gradually, and probably by the time we get to, I think it's Navso, so November Alpha Victor Sierra Oscar. Yeah. So I mean, there's the pink bit, I think, is the decel point. So as you can gather, I've still got quite a bit to learn with all this, but that's what makes it quite interesting. Right, let's just jump into Skydemon, which is quite helpful. That will just show us exactly where we are. It's a bit more detailed than the actual map that you get with the actual Microsoft Flight Simulator. As you can see, it's a bit sort of empty of, it's a bit void of any detail really, but it's good enough for just basic navigation. Okay, so we need to start thinking about descending, and as I say, I'm not particularly that well versed in what we need to do, but we need to get down to about 3,000 feet, I think, here. So let's just do that. And one of the things I'm really pleased with is that I've been kind of practicing a little bit just to try and figure out this autopilot, and I've been doing a flight from Heathrow to Bournemouth in Hampshire, or Dorset, and it's a really short flight, but I just wanted to test how everything was working. And quite often the autopilot just seemed to stop working, and the aircraft just went into circling, just like it's doing now, but it just continued circling rather than just undertaking a turn like it was supposed to. So so we're not actually descending particularly fast. Let's see if I press the right buttons, we'll be all right. Okay, so let's just increase the rate of descent just to get down. Yeah, so it's been a bit frustrating to try and get it to work, but yeah. All right, so I think what we need to do now, we would have a look at the constraints just to see what the constraints were, but we're not going to do that today because I don't really know what I'm doing. And we'll put on the ILS button, and it should hopefully pick it up as we get a bit closer. The approach is ready, but we won't press that until we're pretty much picked up on the ILS, I think that's what we do. And then hopefully everything will go all right and we'll land at Glasgow. So it's much to learn. Right, so we can zoom in a bit here. A bit too far. So 40 seems to do. Ah, there we are. We need to be at 3,000 by this one here, I believe. And then 2,400 by 103 IU. Okay, yeah, so 2,400 here. So basically then what we can do is make sure. So we're heading down to 1,000 there, which is not what we want, is it, really? There we go. We just managed to save the day there. So we have a little bit of the stutters, and I think that's quite a common thing with Microsoft Flight Simulator. I mean, it's just one of those things where I think that the graphics engine is having to work so hard that, you know, it's amazing that it actually keeps up to this kind of standard anyway. So for the kind of quality of the image, I think I'm quite happy to put up with a little bit of micro stutters. I think that's just amazing. Right, let's just go and just keep an eye on the instruments. So 3,000, and we're actually at just under 3,000 feet. So we're at the right height to come into IU04, I believe that is, and then we'll descend to 2,400 as we just before we make the turn. definitely don't think that this is the route and the height that the actual airline would take. Yeah, so if you do come across this video and you kind of like what you're seeing and you think there's maybe a bit of potential, don't forget to like and subscribe. We've got a lot to learn yet, so hopefully it's going to be worth subscribing for the future. Right, so we need to pay attention now because this could go wrong very quickly. And this is pretty much sort of as I've been approaching Bournemouth, where the autopilot has just basically stopped working. So let's just hope this all works okay. Okay, so sterile cockpit and music off. So we'll set up to come down to the 2,400. And don't by any means take this as procedural. This is guesswork. So in real life, I guess we'd be much higher here and descending down to our 3,000 point rather than actually being at that 3,000 right now. And I think that is Glasgow ahead of us. Right, so hopefully we'll be making a turn shortly. Should be able to see the airfield coming up, or airport I guess, rather than airfield. So that's interesting. I'm expecting runway 05. but it says ILS 23. Right, panic time. Let's have a look. Let's jump in. So maybe I've not entered the right one. Oh yeah, the approach is 05. Okay, let's go with it, see what happens. So I have a terrible feeling that it's setting us up for a runway 23, but hopefully we just overfly and then follow this track that we have on the MCDU there, not the MCDU, in the display. Okay, so now we want to, as we go over the airfield, we can start now, I guess. So I want to start descending down to 2,400 feet. Okay. Yeah, that's good. So it's making the extra turn. It's not parallel with the runway. We are turning off. That's good. Right, so I think what we can do is pop some speed brakes out, I think. Oh. There we go. Flat one, I think. Oh, that's going to be close. No, we're good. So we need to be, well, we should be 3,000 feet there, but that's fine. As long as we're 2,400 at this point, that would be good. And once we get to that point, we'll hit the approach. Because I think that's been one of my problems, is when I've hit the approach, when I've been practicing, it's basically done its own thing. Okay, let's make sure we're looking out the window there. Okay, speed is good, so we can probably come down another notch of flaps. Yeah, okay, that's cool. And we are 2,400 feet. It looks like it's ready to pick up the glide scope, so glide slope even. Right, so fingers crossed that it will actually make the turn. Sometimes it turns a bit shorter than what you'd expect it to do, but we'll see. Right, okay, so we're going to have brakes, auto brakes. Are on. Right, okay, I'm expecting this to start turning shortly. You can tell I don't really have that much confidence, can't you? Just have a look outside, which of course you can't do on the actual aircraft. And the airfield's back there, and I think we come in over this lake here. Okay, right, I'm expecting this to turn very shortly. So speed's good. I'm gonna drop the air brakes in. Because we were getting quite slow there, and we are going to make a turn. Right, turn. Turn. Yes, look at this. Right, okay. So we will continue down to 1,500 feet now. So 5 miles, or about 5.5 miles out, is that? Let's have a look, zoom in a bit. Where are we? That's a 5 mile line. Oh, so we're under that. So basically we need to get the wheels down. Wheels are down. Right, now I've hit the approach and oh no, it's nowhere to be seen. Yes, it is. Don't think this is going well. So one more turn to do, I believe. And that will take us over the lake. Yes, it's working. Probably could have saved the undercarriage down until this point, to be fair. Or maybe even a couple of miles further. Right, this is good. Let's see how we're doing on the picking up the glide slope. So probably a bit low at this point. So we are tracking over and we should see this purple arrow come down. So I think what we need to do is basically descend a bit, I think. Ooh, maybe a bit too soon. It's okay, we should still clear these hills. Yeah, that's a bit too soon here. You can see by the profile I'm way too low. But hey, look, this is a test. Okay, glide slope's locked on, and we're a little bit high, so we'll now descend into that. That's good.
1,000.
And the other piece of excitement that we've got to look forwards to is the reverse thrust wasn't working when I tested it earlier on. The key, I've got it assigned to, wasn't working, so I think it should be F2, but I don't think it worked. How exciting. Let's have a quick look here. So the wind is a little bit of a tailwind. It's negligible, really, to be honest. Okay, ready to switch off the autopilot.
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
I don't want to make this any harder than it is. Autopilot is off.
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
200.
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
And idle.
Too low, terrain.
100.
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
And lift the nose.
20. 10. 5.
Oh no.
5.
Oh, that's hard. F2, reverse thrust. Which I don't think is working. Some lights in the middle of the runway there. Oh, I have to actually hold F2 down for it to work, I think. Okay, so, and we'll come off here. And make our way to the terminal. So if you do come across this video, this is my first flight in Microsoft Flight Simulator streaming it. So hopefully, you know, it's been worthwhile for me because I had to test the system just to make sure it worked and all that kind of stuff. And it seems to work okay. We had one misconnection. So, you know, we can live with that, I guess, and hopefully that doesn't happen again. And it's been a bit of practice to do a bit of a patchy ILS landing, to be honest. Let's get in the middle of the taxiway. And yeah, so much to learn, much to find out. So if you do come across this and you've got a little bit of belief that it might get better, do subscribe and be very much appreciated. And if you found anything to like about it, perhaps a thumbs up as well would be appreciated as well. So, and don't forget those things coming up that we've got the checklists that you're going to be able to access on the website, and the what we're calling the ultimate knee boards as well. Okay, so we'll go round past this first terminal. We go going a little bit too fast here, I think. And we seem to have some more lights in the middle of the taxiway, but that's fine. Okay, and we'll come off here, pull up to the terminal, we go. And I think, where do we pull in? Not really sure. I think it might be here somewhere. There we go. I don't think that's that straight in terms of parking. And brake. And engines off. Okay, that's about it. I think I should have put the power on. I'll hopefully see you on the next one.